What's up, people? What's happening? I'm not by myself tonight. Um, my bride is coming. It's Saturday night. If you're here, if you're hanging out with us, let's let us know that you're here. If you happen to be watching the replay, let us know that you're watching the replay. It is Saturday night, so you know what that means. That means it is time for another. It is time for another Have a Conversation After Dark. And this is going to be a good one, I think. I think it's going to be a good one. I think so. We got Elizanne in the house with us.
Hello, Elizanne.
We got Elizanne in the house with us. Thank you for being here, Elizanne. Hello to you as well. So first of all, let me say this. I'll say this now and I'll say this at the end. For all the fathers that are out there, happy Father's Day. Father's Day is tomorrow. And we pray that you will have a phenomenal day. We are grateful for what you contribute to.
I guess I should be saying all of this.
Say that again.
I said, I guess I should be saying all of this.
Okay, go ahead.
Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers and father figures out there. Happy Father's Day to the best father in the whole wide world, in the whole wide universe. You are the best. No one does it better. I hope you have a fantastic day tomorrow, even though it won't be what we would have hoped. I hope that you feel loved and appreciated and needed. You're the best.
Thank you.
You are the best. Happy Father's Day, everyone.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you, Elizanne. Elizanne said happy Father's Day to you as well. Appreciate that. So if you saw the title and the description, you know what we're going to talk about. Now, the description said and more. We may not get to the and more. I don't know. We'll see. But the title is Dissatisfied in the Bedroom.
Mm, mm, mm.
And the question that was posed in the description was,
Can you? I'm sorry.
yes,
I'm just. Can you tighten that my ear thing?
good.
Thank you. Sorry, y'all.
No worries.
Technical difficulties.
So here's the thing, right? And I don't know how much of an issue this is going to be for the folk who watch us normally, but I'm going to tell you typically the things that we talk about quite often come out of our experience when we are working with other couples. This is no different. So,
I'm okay.
what?
Incompatibility?
Well, I changed it. I
Oh,
changed it from incompatibility to dissatisfaction, which there's a thin line between those two things. They could be the same, they could be different, right? Incompatibility is one issue. Dissatisfaction in the bedroom is another. So we can ping pong between both, right? So the question that I have to start this out is, for individuals who are dissatisfied in the bedroom, we
hmm
often see that there is no communication around it until it comes out. It generally comes out as a bombshell statement, either in conflict or
yeah.
in something else. Well, you ain't even doing what you're supposed to be doing anyway.
Mm.
Whoa. What? Like, where did that come from? Right? That's typically how it comes out. So the question that I have is, why is it that when someone is dissatisfied in the bedroom that they do not say anything?
I think they don't want to hurt the other person's feelings or ego. Uh, yeah, I think that might be why.
So you suffer in silence? I don't think that that's a fair trade-off, right? Let me give you an example, right? I'm going to give you an example. Obviously I'm not going to, say any of our clients' names, but we had a client in the past. Actually, this was a client that I was dealing with by myself,
Mm-hmm.
who there was an issue in the bedroom. Literally everything that was wrong, in air quotes, about their relationship, what could point back to the fact that someone was dissatisfied in the
And
bedroom
never said
and
anything.
never said anything.
Hence resentment.
Hence resentment, hence treating the one spouse is wondering why they're getting this intense disrespect,
Wow.
and
So
like it's out of the blue for this person, but then it comes out, oh well, because you ain't really doing what you're supposed to be doing.
so it came out in every other way
Came out in every other
except
way.
for
Right.
not voicing it.
Right. Being belittled and not understanding where that treatment is coming from, and all of that, right? So Elizan said, I agree with Denise. So we don't talk about being dissatisfied because we don't want to hurt the other person's feelings, but then how does that help the person who's dissatisfied? Like,
I think maybe all of the things that are said, the the words of resentment that are said,
mhm,
the actions that are done, actions of resentment that are done. I think that is their way of starting the conversation so
okay,
that
okay,
the other person can say, man, what is wrong with you? What is going on?
Mhm.
And then that person can lash out and say, "You ain't even da 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 da" in the bedroom.
So this sex thing is really hard to talk about. Like it's very hard to talk about, but it's not hard to. So here's what's funny, right? Here's what's funny. You don't want to hurt the other person's feelings, but at some point you end up crushing their feelings
Right. Doesn't make sense.
because in not hurting their feelings, you are now you're suppressing and suppressing and suppressing, and then it comes out as this bombshell
Hmm.
when it could have just come out as a pinch.
Yeah,
Now you just tearing their whole world down.
and I don't know for sure that that is the reason why you asked the reason why don't people talk about it, but that's
Hmm.
what I can only assume
Hmm.
that that's why. But
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay. And then I'm
You
gonna get to Chris's comment.
you said in the beginning, often when we talk to our clients or when we talk go live or whatever, the topics that are discussed um or come from our playbook or something like that, you said.
Well, not all of them, but a lot of them, some of them come out of their experience. There are things that we've experienced with couples that we work with.
With couples that, okay, not
Right.
with us.
No, not with us.
Oh,
I'm
because I
talking about
was
with
gonna
couples that we
say,
work
wait a
with.
minute.
Yeah,
Wait a
yeah,
minute.
not with us.
I
Not with us.
was gonna say, wait now,
Like we're about
what?
to have a therapy session in front of y'all right now, right?
That's why I was like, what?
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm saying a
Yes,
lot of
yes,
the
yes,
topics
yes.
that the reason why we bring them to the table is because they come up in sessions
Got you. Yeah, I
with
thought you
couples that we
meant
talk with.
us. I was like,
Chris,
okay, you
Chris said, I
telling me
think the
something.
issue is that the person haven't communicated what they expect in the bedroom. Ah, okay. And that, yeah, you're right,
That's true.
because we're not
Expectations.
talking about
Yeah.
expectations in the
Mm-hmm.
bedroom. We're not talking about wants and desires,
Needs.
needs in the bedroom. And then when they aren't fulfilled, we're dissatisfied. We harbor that dissatisfaction. It comes out as a bombshell thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the reason why? And if I use this couple that I mentioned as an example, um
What is the reason
what is
why?
the reason why we're not talking about expectations? What is the reason why we're not talking about wants and desires? What is it that makes us feel like we, I don't know, why are we why is that conversation not happening?
Again, I think it all goes back to you don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. You don't want to, bruise their ego. You don't want to say this doesn't do anything for me because you want the person to feel like they are the best lover. Do you know what I mean?
So maybe it's about how we say it then.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Because I feel like, and I know you agree with me, we feel like those conversations should take place.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're not, let me be controversial because this is just kind of what I do at times. If you do not express to your mate what you want in the bedroom, what you need in the bedroom, or that you are dissatisfied in the bedroom, then your dissatisfaction is your fault.
Yeah, I agree. Because you could say something
Now that's
and
harsh,
take care of your
right?
dissatisfaction. Yeah,
But that's the truth.
it's true. It's true.
Let's see. Let's what we got here. Elizan said it doesn't until it comes out in counseling. Sometimes there is
Subtle
subtle
hints.
hints or conversations,
Conversations.
but the significant other does not seem to acknowledge their respect or that they need to make changes. So here,
The request.
so here's the thing. This typically this particular thing we do here with have a conversation is not about giving advice, but there's probably going to be some advice given tonight. So let me say to what you said, Elizan, you're absolutely right. It does happen. Here's what I here's what if that's coming out to me or to us in a session, the next thing you're going to hear from me is stop using subtle hints.
Yeah, but also I think we can't just say stop using subtle hints.
Hmm.
We have to coach people on what to say
Right, right.
then.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's the next thing that happens. Like, I'm not just going to hit you with that in the face. Stop using subtle hints. Yeah, we're going to talk about what that looks like and how you say those kinds of things. But here's the thing, I don't believe in subtle hints
No, that's no,
because what
we
I have
don't
to do with subtle hints is that I have to decipher
decipher.
what it is. If you talking about a book, I got to decipher that book is a metaphor for sex. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to tell you right now. we we have an understanding. Like your boy ain't like I'm not hieroglyphics. I'm not doing all that.
Yeah,
Like I'm not doing that. So um, we got to be able to talk. We got to be able to say, use our words.
it's
Fear of
difficult.
being judged. Okay, that's why do we not do that? Fear of being judged. Okay,
Yeah,
I can see that. I can see that. Sharon said expectation, observation, expectation
observation.
minus
Oh,
observation equals
minus
frustration.
expectation
Minus
minus
observation
observation
equals
equals
frustration.
frustration. You can't get what you can't get you can't get what you don't see, but at the end of the day people don't talk about it because of fear.
Fear of what? Fear of what? Just I'm with you, but I want you to tell me fear of what? Fear? What are we afraid of?
I think it's fear of we don't want to get into conflict. Again, we
Mm-hmm.
don't want the other person to it could be fear of a lot of things. Conflict.
Okay.
We don't want the other person to feel some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want the other person to um be what's the word? Insulted, or I can't think of the right word. Just offended. We don't want
Mm-hmm.
the other person to feel offended and hence lash out. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I said something to you, I wouldn't want you to be offended and then you lash out at me.
Mm-hmm.
Fear of a whole lot of things
Interesting.
like that. I don't think it's
Interesting.
fear of one thing, or it
Mm-hmm.
could be fear of one thing, but it could be a number of reasons why.
Do you think people have? Do you think people have problems telling the person who let's say I cooked a meal, right?
Hmm.
Do you have a problem telling me that something is salty?
No,
Do you
but
feel like it's going to hurt my feelings?
I think if I would, I think if I were to say it a certain way, I
Mm-hmm.
could hurt your feelings.
Right.
But I think it
But you're not
all.
apprehensive to tell me though,
I do think about it
do you?
sometimes. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, I'm apprehensive, but it will not hinder me from saying anything. But I do think about it. There is apprehension, but I still do say it.
And the only reason I use that example is because I feel like that's easier for us to say than I need. So here's the thing. Maybe we take the word dissatisfaction out because dissatisfaction has a very negative connotation,
I
right?
mean, but that's what it is, though.
Yeah, but maybe instead of coming at it a negative way, we say, "Hey, I would love if you did X, Y, Z."
And that's what I'm saying. We have to say it a certain way.
But we don't even do that. People don't even do that. They don't even. There's some for some reason, and you know this because we sit with couples. For some reason, it is so difficult for one person to just come out and be like, "Man, I just wish you would kiss me on my neck more
Hmm.
because that would help do this and this, and that would lead to that and that and that."
Yeah.
We got to start saying that stuff.
Hmm.
Ellison, let's. Sharon said correct fear of a bunch of
Of a
things.
bunch of things. Yeah.
Ellison said, "I'm talking about asking
Asking
your
your
partner
partner to,
to
let's
let's
say,
say
have
have foreplay
foreplay
instead of
instead of
just
just
going straight."
going straight
Okay.
for sex.
I still don't think
Okay.
there should be subtle hints though. Like that's something you got to say. Here, so again, it's not supposed to be an advice show. I keep saying that disclaimer. Here's the thing. Here's what we got to get better at. And the reason why these conversations happen on Saturday nights is because the goal is to get everybody else having these conversations.
Yeah.
You need to get to the place where you are able to very accurately and uh, effectively share your wants and desires
Yeah.
in the bedroom. Matter of fact, you need to get to the place where you can do them in real time.
In the In this topic, yes, in this
In
instance.
real time. I'm talking about y'all are in the midst of it and somebody's like, hey, slow down,
Yeah.
speed up, speed up. No, 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 don't do that. Don't do that. Touch
Mhm.
here, touch there.
Yeah.
We got to be able to do that
Yeah.
because trust us, we sit in front of couples who I'm going to give you the three areas that 100% of our couples fall into these three categories in terms of where they're looking to improve. One is in communication. Communication is not happening.
Yeah.
The other is in conflict management. The other one is intimacy,
Yeah.
hands down.
I think, let me know what, tell me if you agree with this. You
Hmm.
you were saying we need to get, or couples need to get used to expressing their needs in the moment.
Hmm.
I'm talking about sexual intimacy now.
Hmm.
I think that in the moment, as far as sexual intimacy goes, might be easier to do
Really?
than I think so.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like that might be easier than just sitting
Hmm.
down and having a conversation about it.
Hey, let us know what you
I
think.
don't know. I
Is it
just kind of feel like that might be easier.
is it easier to give instructions while you're in the midst of sexual intimacy, or
Then again, it would depend on how you usually interact during in sexual intimacy.
that's true.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
If
That's
you're
because if
already
you're not
talkers,
right,
then it might not be too
might not be that
difficult
big
to
of a deal.
do.
Yeah.
But if you're not talkers, then maybe it is. I
I
don't
know. Sharon said depends on the person and their
know.
history.
History, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Fear that someone will think that what they want is too much.
For the other person,
Yeah, I'm with that. But how do you know? You don't know if it's too
if
much
you
if you
don't
don't say.
ask, yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm cool with coming to you and be like, hey, this is what I'd like to do this and this, and you're like, I don't really know if I want to do, I want to do A B C D E F G, and you're like, I don't know about F and G, I feel a little uncomfortable. I'm cool. Like that's not a bruise to my ego.
Yeah. Everybody's not like that though.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Just one question said use the feel, felt, found system. Okay.
Feel,
I
felt,
would love for you to
found.
expand on that. I think
Yeah,
I
I don't
know
know.
I think I know where you're going with that. But for the sake of everybody who's watching,
And
you
for
know,
me, for the sake of me, because I
yeah,
don't get
that
that.
just yeah, expand on that. Positive positioning is key, no pun intended. Leading with strengths can help meet your needs. Sorry, my bad. I had to go there. My bad. Positive positioning is key. Let's be clear about that. In all ways, including this right here. Leading with strengths can help meet your needs.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yep.
I agree with that. I don't know, man. I there's not a lot that we can say about this outside of the fact that if you're having some issues in that area, you have to sit down you don't have to sit down with someone. If you feel like you cannot cross that hurdle to having these conversations, then yes, you do have to sit down with someone.
But I feel like you have to at least start. You have to at least try
Hmm.
first. I think some people may not have even tried to have the conversation, and they're just thinking that what they're thinking in their head is right.
Hmm.
The person's going to get mad at me. I don't want the person to feel bad,
Hmm.
all that type of stuff. So they haven't even tried to have the conversation.
Yeah. You
At
got to at
least
least try to.
try.
Yeah, you got to at
Hmm.
least try. And it's delivery is the key, right?
Delivery
Delivery
is
is the key,
key.
right? So what you're trying to express to them is something that's really phenomenal, that is conducive to the success of your relationship.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that it's presented a certain way. I love this thing, man. I always think about this Cosby Show episode where Denise came home and she was married, right?
Hmm.
And and Bill was feeling some kind of way, and then later on when they asked like what's the issue, he was like, he asked the guy, what's your favorite meal? He was like,
Mhm.
steak. Oh, okay, we're gonna cook a big juicy steak. And he went through all that. And he was like, okay, and then I'm gonna present it to you. I'm gonna go outside, I'm gonna get the garbage can lid off the garbage, and I'm gonna put all the steak and the carrots and the this and that on there, and I'm gonna present it to you. Do you want it?
Mhm.
So it's about your presentation, right?
Presentation.
I think if you say it a certain way, I don't understand why it is a problem. Now I'm gonna tell you why I think we don't do it in just a second. All right. So just one question said, I know how you feel. I felt similar, right? So there's the empathy piece right there. Uh, what I found out is that by doing XYZ, it helps a person, and it basically what they're saying is it helps a person not feel attacked. So that's the method that you should use. Use the feel, felt, found method. So that
Oh,
I can work with
okay.
that.
Okay.
I can work with that. I can work with that. Elizan said, may not be yours, but to some men who believe that there should be no boundaries in the bed, even when it is uncomfortable to their significant other, is a big problem. I agree with you,
Mhm.
and that's his problem,
Mm.
and that's a problem that has to be dealt with on his end, right? Because here's the thing: if you cannot take instruction, period. Forget about what we're talking about right now, about sex, about anything. If you can't take instruction or criticism, there is a problem.
Yeah.
That's a whole problem that has to be addressed. So I agree with you, Elizan. You're right.
Camilla's here. Hi, Camilla.
Camilla's here. Camilla's
Camilla
here.
is in the house.
What's happening? What's happening, family? So listen, here's the question. See, it said, what is the question? What we're talking about tonight is dissatisfaction in the bedroom. And the fact that dissatisfaction in the bedroom is very rarely, now we're going off our experience with the couples that we've worked with. Dissatisfaction is rarely talked about.
Right.
And it doesn't come up until there is this blow up moment where they've pulled this card out of their back
That they've
pocket
had
that's
in their
been
back
sitting there
pocket.
forever.
Hmm.
Well, you don't even do me right. What?
Yeah.
Where is that coming from?
So it's
Why is
never
it that we don't talk about it?
right. It's never talked about, but the resentment
Mhm.
shows up in different ways, in
Yeah,
actions, in the things that you say, little jabs, or just the way you interact verbally with your spouse. It shows up in that way.
it does.
Body language, even.
What do you think would make us more comfortable? Because because here's my assessment is that there are several things that cause discomfort in this conversation, right? One is family of origin, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we grow up in
That's a good
families that
one.
don't talk about it,
Yeah.
or we grow up in families that actually said it was wrong to talk about it,
Hmm.
right? Or we are in church environments, faith-based environments that say we shouldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
And so we kind of go into marriage with this thing that it's taboo,
Taboo.
right?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, if you put in right now in Google taboo marriage topics, there are going to be some topics that are about sex.
Yeah.
So we've been inundated with this ideology that talking about sex is taboo.
Hmm.
So now I'm not experiencing what would like to experience in the bedroom, but I'm not saying anything,
Hmm.
right? I'm not saying anything. And for all of the reasons we just talked about and that people have put in the comments, how do we reverse that? Because we have to reverse that. Let me see what Camilla's saying.
I don't know. Somebody's gotta, like, if you're retaliating towards me, you're resentful towards me
Hmm.
because because of how you feel, but I don't know that that's why. I can't be the one to say, man, I something's going on with you. Is it our sex life? Because I have no clue.
Yeah, and
So it's got to be on the person who is dissatisfied.
yeah, and there is some embarrassment. You're right. It has to be on a person who's dissatisfied. We got to figure out how to get past that embarrassment, right? Most people are embarrassed to talk about sex and what they like and don't like,
Yeah.
so they can't even say they're dissatisfied.
Yeah.
And that's a good point, because the example of the client that I had, it was not until and I could be wrong about this. I'm guessing. I want to say it was not until the third session
Mm-hmm. That
that
you
I even recognized what the underlying root cause was.
did you recognize it before the couple did?
Well, I kind of got a sense, but they brought it out
Okay.
in the third session. So they're coming to me. We got these communication issues. We just not compatible. Things are just not happening, and all of this kind of stuff. Come to find out, the issue that is causing all of this
Wow.
is that one person is dissatisfied, and
Had
they
it
don't feel like the other person is doing anything to resolve that. But they never really said what satisfaction looked like, nor were they open to here. We're taking the conversation a whole different direction now, nor were they open to different options to ensure their satisfaction. Let me talk
wow.
about what I mean by that. So,
Wow.
so an issue was length of intercourse. That was an issue,
Okay.
that it was too short.
Okay.
There could have been some medical things. We explored a bunch of things,
Mm-hmm.
right? An option was, okay, let's enhance foreplay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about what foreplay looks like. Let's talk about some things that you can potentially do to get that person to orgasm, if that's what they where they want to be, before you actually have intercourse.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a possibility? She was like, no.
But
That's a whole nother topic. But I'm just saying, the reason why I'm even saying all of that is because sometimes to handle, and again, this is not a it's not a coaching session, but sometimes to handle disappointment, or to resolve that, may include thinking outside the box,
yeah.
which is why these conversations have to happen, because you may find out something about your spouse, that they like this particular thing that you didn't even know they liked,
Mm-hmm.
and then you could incorporate that into your lovemaking session, or into your foreplay, or into anything like that, to enhance the experience.
It's really difficult though. It's really difficult if I'm already not talking about it at all. I don't know. I don't even know how you would begin.
Yeah,
Like I don't know.
let me catch up. Where were we? Right here.
Also, some people think they
Them being dissatisfied is their own fault.
is there. Oh wow, huh?
That's interesting.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's
interesting.
true, Camilla.
You need to find the way your partner feels safe to communicate.
Yep,
Some may need to write a letter instead of
yep,
speaking. Very true.
yep,
Very true.
yep.
Very true.
I
And
agree with
and
that.
that's okay. And that's
It
okay.
is so fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
It
It's
is
fascinating to us as
fascinating.
well, but I understand it. Although it's fascinating, I understand it,
I
because I
understand
grew
it.
up in a house where sex was not talked about,
Yeah,
unless it was like, don't,
don't do.
yeah, don't, you not bringing an extra person into this, into this, what we've established. That's about it. That's about as far as it went. Like, no extra person is coming into what we established right here. So figure that out.
I
Like,
think it is. I understand it too. For that reason, sex was not talked about. The only thing my mom would say is, go ahead. You're gonna find what you're looking for.
right, right,
So what does that mean? Honestly. And she said it in patois. So
right, right.
but I understand it too for that reason, and also because, like my communication style is not forthcoming.
Hmm, hmm,
So I
hmm.
think that comes into play as well.
That's
Like,
true.
how do you communicate about anything else?
Right. And then just one question, said that you got to find how your partner communicates.
Yep.
Um, Krista, this is the issue, is no one wants to feel like they are freakier
Freakier
than
than
the
the
other
other
person.
person.
So if they communicate what they want, the fear is a person could
Could leave
leave
or
or put
put them
them. Oh, okay.
on blast to others?
Wow.
Really, Chris?
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
That's huh.
Yeah. Wow. I think it's so
Wow.
fascinating we focus so much on love languages for married couples, but not how to communicate. Exactly. I'm with you
That's
100% on that.
true.
We don't talk about that enough.
That's
And here
true.
here's where I would challenge individuals who deal with premarital couples. There is very little conversation with premarital couples unless you go to a really out the box kind of counselor for this. There's very little talk about sexual compatibility
Yeah.
in marriage.
Yeah.
And how do you go about navigating that? And what does that look like? And what are the conversations that you should be having?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because we don't want couples who are engaged to start talking about sex because we feel like they're going to have sex,
Yeah.
which is hogwash. It we prepare for everything else. So why do we not prepare for that? Right?
Yeah.
Me learning how to drive doesn't mean I'm going to go steal a car. I'm preparing for what comes next, right? So
I
you got to
think
talk about it.
you have to talk about it, but I think it's the way that it's talked about. You can't say, you know, can't have sex until you're married. Don't have sex until you're married because you're still making it you're still
You're making it taboo.
you're making it taboo, and you're still putting a negative connotation on the act of sexual intimacy. And I think that that is where a lot of people go wrong,
Yeah.
is how they even talk about it. If they talk about it with, single people or whatever, their children,
Hmm.
I think they initiate the conversation all wrong by saying, don't. It's the don't thing. It's just has this negative connotation instead of saying how beautiful it is, and that it's a gift from God, and that he, loves when it happens, and
Right.
making it a lovely thing instead of a don't thing.
And you have to talk about. I'm using this word kind of for shock value, but you have to talk about the mechanics of it.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Like you have to
Definitely.
ahead of time, right? Elizan said it could have something to do with preconceived requirements or understandings of marital sex. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Married with benefits. I think society has put a big hex on the subject, and people are so afraid to open up. They are.
Absolutely.
You're right, and
Yeah.
it is it is so detrimental
Sorry.
to the the building and maintaining of an intimate bond, because we see that with the couples that sit in front of us and talk and have such a difficult time expressing to the other person, hey, here's what I'd like to experience.
Yeah.
And all we're saying in this conversation tonight is that we have to get to a place where we can have those conversations,
Mm-hmm.
because two things happen. One, you live a unfulfilled sexual experience in marriage, which is like a mold
Mm-hmm.
that infects every other area of your marriage. Two, you harbor as a result resentment at some point builds.
A mold?
And hmm,
Mold?
yeah, like if you got fruit and one fruit is moldy, if it sits amongst other fruit for long enough, it's going to mess up the other fruit.
Okay.
So it's I was trying to be nice. I was trying to think
Mold
of
is
another.
not nice.
I was thinking cancer, but I was trying to be.
Oh, okay. I'll take mold.
So exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, and the other thing is, resentment builds up,
Mm-hmm.
and then what we have experienced is that it comes out as this bombshell,
Yeah.
and the other person is
Yeah,
blindsided,
like where did that come from?
right? And it typically comes out in some other kind of conflict. And then all of a sudden the shotgun comes out. Well, you ain't even doing what you supposed to. I'm not even satisfied. What?
Yeah. Like you never said anything all this time and now you're bringing that up?
Yeah.
Like where
So
did that come from?
yeah. So that's my thing. We have to start talking about it. And it's okay. Can I just say it is okay? Now, it's not, this isn't typically not a, I'm going to keep using this disclaimer. It's typically not an advice session tonight, right? But here's for those who ask the question, okay, how do we get comfortable? How do you get comfortable? I would say one way to go about this is not to express your needs and desires starting in the negative. What do I mean by that? Often, what will happen is, well, I don't like when you do such and such.
You'll
Or you
never,
don't do, yeah, every time we do this, you too fast, or you too, don't start in the negative.
you'll never, you don't never rub my back enough. You don't never
R-
even kiss my neck. You
Right.
always going for what you want.
We can't start in the negative.
Yeah.
Start with, you know what? I would love if you did such and such and such. Let me tell you why. Because when you do such and such, mm,
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
might swing
say,
from the chandeliers if you do that.
I was gonna say, even start with what you do love. There's got to be something that you
Mm,
love. You know,
yep.
I would hope at least.
Yep.
I love it when you do X, Y, Z.
That's a good
Man,
way to
I
start
just
that
love.
conversation.
Mm,
That's a good way to start that conversation. Camilla said, let me catch up on these comments. Right, because we have a whole
book in
in
the
the Bible.
Bible that makes people blush.
Exactly.
They're not trying to talk about mechanics.
Exactly. There it is. There it is. Not mold. Yeah, that's all
Right.
I could think of. I was trying to think of something, that we could relate with.
We can relate to mold. Okay.
I don't know. I try. I try. I try. I try.
I'm teasing.
Pedro said, "Don't be nice.
Don't be nice. Just come out and say
Just say it. You're right. You're right,
it.
bro." We use the 3 sheets method. Write down 3 things we need from each other. Now we just tell each other. Okay. The
Okay.
3 sheets method.
The 3 sheets method.
3 sheets method. Build, burn, build.
Build, burn, build. End on, yes,
Build, burn,
exactly.
build, which eh, is very similar to our
The ice
ice
cream
cream. Yep.
sandwich method.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that.
Excellent. I love it. Always use the word. Always use the we, not the I. Okay.
Hmm.
I like that
That could
because
apply.
it's inclusive,
Yeah.
right? It's inclusive. Elizan said, "What about the changes in a woman's body as they go through childbirth, menopause, etc., or the
Hmm.
fact that a man come
Comes
prematurely?"
prematurely to women.
So we got to talk about it.
Gotta talk about it.
So we can speak about the menopause piece or
Hmm.
perimenopause because we are experiencing that, and we
Yeah.
had to have conversations.
Conversations. Had to.
Like we could not leave any of that to chance.
Hmm.
You just can't. Now it's your, obviously, again, we're going back to this, it's your delivery, right? Because here's the thing. I want to be satisfied in the bedroom. I don't want to be dissatisfied. So if I feel like there's something, I'm gonna use myself as an example. If I feel like there is something that would heighten my satisfaction, I'm going to introduce that to her.
Hmm.
I'm not going to say to her, "Hey, how come you don't never do such and such?"
Right.
Because that is an immediate turnoff.
Yep. Absolutely.
If that's how I come at her, it doesn't matter what I say next. What I
Forget it.
say next could take her to the 19th heaven. We talked about the 7th heaven a couple weeks ago.
Ooh, we're at 19 now.
But if
Woo.
I come at her like that,
Forget
she's
it.
not going to hear anything else I say.
Forget it.
However, here's the next thing. I am not going to keep that to myself either.
Yeah. It's how you say it, how you present it.
I'm just not going to keep it to myself. So, and here's the thing. Here's what we aren't taught. There are options. So if your man comes prematurely, there are options. And there are options that don't need to undercut his manhood.
Mm.
And I think sometimes we don't want to explore like you said in the beginning, because you don't want to. I
You
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
feel
hurt this
like I'm
man,
right. I don't
bruise
feel
his
like I'm not
ego.
right. Because if we use the couple that I used, the client that we had, it was visible.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm.
was visible that he was torn
Oh,
down.
oh man. Oh man, I
I
hate
mean, this
that.
brother was torn
I
down.
hate that. Mm,
And you don't there are options that don't require you to tear the person down.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think sometimes we don't, it's almost like we don't know, it's almost like we're on two extremes. Either we don't know how to talk about it or don't want to talk about it, or when we do talk about it, it's just arrows and darts and gunshots.
Do you know, sometimes I think too that the way, and I know I can speak from experience on this, reg- not in regards to um sexual intimacy, but my West Indian mother, if she wanted to get her point across to me, or she wanted me to do something sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
she would fuss at me and say something negative
Mm-hmm.
and think that that would
It's
encourage
motivation. Right.
motivation.
Right.
Yeah, and that's just not the way to go about it. That's not the way to go about it. So the couple in your instance, maybe she was thinking that whatever she was saying and doing would motivate her husband and motivate her husband to do or give her what she needed.
Maybe.
I don't know why we feel like that's the route that we should take instead of sitting down in a loving way and having a more loving conversation.
Yep.
But often that is the approach that we take. We think that our negative words and our berating and our belittling and our criticizing, and we criticize and slip our suggestion into that criticism somehow, some way,
Mm-hmm.
and think that that is the way to motivate a person, and it's just
It's not.
absolutely not. It's so discouraging.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I would say, if you're dealing with dissatisfaction, right? You have to find ways to express your needs while still holding up the integrity of the other person,
Yeah.
right? So how does that look? How does that look like boots on the ground? So if if there's something that I feel like would be would help my satisfaction in the bedroom,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna approach you, and I may, I'm talking about me now. This is me personally. I
Mhm.
may actually do a couple of different things. I may ask you a question like,
Mhm.
"How do you feel about such and such?"
Yeah.
Or "Have you ever thought about such and such?" And you may say yes or no or whatever. And typically, the next thing you'll do it ask me is why.
Why are you asking
Yeah,
me
why'd
that?
you ask that?
Yeah.
It's like, oh well, I was just thinking about this and this, and I think you know
Yeah. You've
might
done that
might be
before.
right. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So we can have a conversation about it, right?
Yeah.
The very first thing we got to do is get past the point that this is not a taboo issue.
Right.
We even use the word taboo, and maybe we should stop using that as well. We use it for the shock value of this Saturday night show, but we got to get past the fact that this is not a taboo issue. It is if it's essential, which is another conversation we had a couple weeks back. If it is indeed essential to your marital experience, sex
Mhm.
being essential to your marital experience, it is your duty to my mind went somewhere. It is your duty to talk about that.
Mhm.
All right, let me catch up. Let me catch up. I was just going to ask about our fan. There it is. It's here. It
It's
never
still
leaves.
here. It never leaves.
Yeah, it's a permanent fixture in this thing we've established here.
I still didn't put the logo on it yet, but I'm going to.
19, just one away. Yeah, we
The
listen.
20th heaven.
Yeah, we're gonna be at 20 before the night is over. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. For us, it was the wife. It turned out she had a medical issue we did not realize she had.
Mm,
It was not
see?
until she went to the doctor and had a procedure that our sex life improved her. See?
Yeah.
And here's the
Did you
thing.
guys have a conversation about that? Or did your wife just go to the doctor, or was it a conversation of me being your wife? Man, I think I need to go to the doctor. Or was it a conversation of you as the husband, like, man, I'm feeling some kind of way, not necessarily all the way satisfied.
That's a good
What's going
question.
on? How did you handle that? Was a conversation had, or did your wife just go to the doctor?
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
curious.
good question. How did that come about? Like what
How did the
motivated?
doctor's visit come
Yeah,
about?
what motivated taking that step?
Yeah,
Camilla said, to be honest, negative self talk is how people motivate themselves. So
selves.
that's what they do with other people. Yep.
100%.
Even those they love. Very true.
100%.
Very true. Very true. We do a fantasy box. Three freaky things we would
Ooh,
do for sure. Three things we might do. Then we pull one out the box and work on doing that.
I love
I like that.
it.
I like
I
that.
love it.
I like that. So shameless plug. And if you want to know how to get these, let us know and we'll help you with that. This right here.
Can't see it.
Oh, hold on. It's
It's
because we
blurry.
come over here. Why is it blurry? What's wrong with the camera tonight? Bedroom game. This right here, and I'm piggybacking off of the freaky box that they just talked about. Here's how this works, right? There's cards in here, right? In the cards, there's a foreplay card, there is a romance card, and there is a heavy foreplay card, and there is a hot and heavy card. There are things on here. You pull the card out, you and your spouse talk about it, you're comfortable about it, you try it, right? That may spark some conversation. Go check out Married with Benefits and see about their fantasy box.
So glad you're here,
Um,
married with
yes,
benefits.
thank you for being here.
Thanks for
Indeed,
being here
that's a
with us.
fantastic idea,
I
right?
love it.
Because what we got to do now is we got to make it comfortable, and we got to create an environment that allows for one, the level of comfort, two, the conversation, and three, for you to grow in that area. Pedro said, yes, we did. They did have a conversation. I love it. I love it. I love it. If you're
That's great.
having sex often, then it should be easy to bring it up. Just like how you say what you need to get from Costco.
I agree.
So here's the thing.
Yes.
I agree with you, but you'd be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be. It's not that easy to bring up.
Hmm. Even if you're having sex often.
I've experienced that with clients.
Hmm.
Because here's the thing. I experienced this with a client. The client, they're not the frequency of sex wasn't the problem. It was that they weren't satisfied.
Hmm.
And they still weren't talking about it.
But yeah, I would think, like, I think what Camilla is saying, that if you're having it so frequently,
You would think that.
you would think that a
You would think that.
conversation.
But I've been in a situation with a client where the frequency, because often frequency is a problem. Often people are like, we're not having sex enough, but they don't say about it. This particular couple, they were having enough, whatever you want to call enough, but they were having enough sex, but one person wasn't satisfied.
But to me, if I was dissatisfied, I wouldn't be. We wouldn't be having frequent sex because I'd be like, I'm not. Mm-mm.
And I
This
agree.
ain't even. Don't even feel great. So
I
no,
agree with you.
I'm not.
I agree with you, but I'm just giving you a scenario that I lived
Interesting.
through working with a couple who they were getting it in,
Very
but
interesting.
one person wasn't getting out of it what they wanted to get out
I'm
of it.
not gonna keep doing that.
And here's the
Sorry.
thing. Here's let me I'm gonna, since I brought them up, let me use them as an example. At In terms of what I'm when I said there's options, right?
Mm-hmm.
So The reason why the one person was dissatisfied is because they were not frequently being brought to orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just saw is it Tammy Hill? That's who we follow. I think it was Tammy Hill
Yeah.
that said that orgasm should not be your main,
Should not be the goal.
should not be the goal,
Yeah.
right? So that's, I'm not going to stamp that as a standard. Like you got to, what's important for you is important for you. I can't really speak on that. If orgasm is important to you, what you now have to do is talk about how you can get there,
Yeah.
even in the face of his or her inability to bring you there.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a two, we're a team.
Yeah.
So if I'm not able to bring you to orgasm, there's two things that have to happen. One, you have to share with me what gets you there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it may not be me in terms of intercourse.
Mm-hmm.
It may be me in terms of some level of foreplay.
Yeah. Right.
And then intercourse happens,
Mm-hmm.
which then now satisfies my need to
Right.
for orgasm.
Yep.
That's the kind of stuff that we have to talk about
Yeah.
because that is okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. And I think maybe our view of sex is maybe warped. So we feel like, there, we feel like the sexual experience has to travel a certain
Way.
trajectory.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, then we're dissatisfied, but it does not.
Right.
It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So uh
If you're having sex often, then it should be
oh
easy.
yeah,
Oh
this
yeah,
was
we
what
said
this
that.
was Camilla's.
Yeah.
Okay. Um got a got a letter to have a pap smear and went and then found out she had some issues. And
And
yes,
yes,
we
we did
did
talk
talk about
about the
the pain she was having.
pain. The pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that's a whole
I think
nother
it was a
situation.
mental
If
issue.
you're
I
in
just
pain
thought it
and you
was
ain't saying
because of
it, like,
having having 3 kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you definitely, especially if there's something like pain, discomfort, something like that, those definitely have to be talked about. Definitely, without a doubt.
Mm.
Uh must have must have been the woman. Yeah, you're right. Because we typically don't have problems getting the
For
orgasm. It's that we get there too quick.
foreplay for both is essential.
Essential. Essential.
I I tend to
That's a
disagree
whole
with
nother,
that.
you want to go down that road? Okay,
I
we can
tend
go
to
down that road.
disagree with that. I don't think it's essential.
Okay.
I think that not necessarily. Not necessarily. I'll just leave it at that.
Let's come back to that.
Not necessarily.
Look at this. My job is not to make you happy. My job is to amplify your happiness. Whew.
Ooh.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Which means if you're,
Wow.
which goes back to, I don't know if you were here, Married with Benefits, when I said this earlier, which goes back to the statement I made earlier. If you're dissatisfied and you ain't saying nothing, it's your fault.
Mm. Amplify your happiness.
Because I'm not here to make you happy, here to
Mm.
amplify your happiness. So what would
Wow.
amplify it? How do I even know that if you don't tell me?
Good point.
Like, we can't guess that.
Good point.
What would amplify it?
Yeah.
We need to know what would amplify it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get out of here in a second. But let's get through these comments. Okay, it plays a part.
Plays a part. Absolutely.
It does. Here's the thing, Pedro. Um, I think foreplay is situational.
Situational. I agree.
Interesting.
I agree.
And I agree with that. I agree with that. So here's the thing, and here's why conversation is important. Putting ourselves on Front Street here, right? It is not that essential for her. It is for me.
It's not that essential for me all the time.
All the time. All the
I
time.
like it. I
Right.
don't dislike it.
Right. Yeah. I'm not saying you dislike it, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying in the way of, like, there's some people who there has to be this amount of time.
Yeah.
That's you're not like that all the time. There
Sometimes,
doesn't have to be a
sometimes I am. I
right.
love it sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, meh, I'm ready.
Hence the reason why we have to see why we would have to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Because if it's important to me, on, let's say we come across a moment where I'm feeling like she's not there and I don't see anything. I'm just feeling some kind of way.
Yeah.
Now we down the road to what could potentially be conflict or resentment. So
Right.
that's why these conversations have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes or 5 hours. We both have the same amount of time. You better get yours before I get mine.
I love it.
That is hilarious right there.
Oh, that's right.
That's
And we
hilarious.
do both have the same amount
We
of
do have the same.
time.
You're right. We do. You're right. You're right. Sometimes you just need a quickie and both don't climax or it happens to both. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm.
okay, say say what you're gonna say. Say what you're gonna say about that. Um listen, Pedro, I'm with you.
And it can happen.
But here's what's crazy, Pedro. Here's what's crazy. As I've gotten older, as I've gotten older, I kind of have a problem with that.
Yeah, he does.
When I was younger, that I was like, yeah, whatever. I was like married with benefits. Five
Get
hours,
yours
yeah,
before I get mine.
hey. I hope you good. I hope you good. I hope you good. But now, as I'm getting older, like I'm like it bothers me. Like to the point where she's like, hey, relax, like you good. Like don't
Yeah,
like it bothers me now as I
yeah.
get older. So you definitely, and again, hence
Another conversation because
another reason why we gotta have a
look,
conversation.
perimenopause over here.
Yep.
It's not always gonna be, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Another reason why you gotta have a conversation.
Yeah.
So, but I'm with you, Pedro. I'm with you. Uh Stevie, that is all the more reason effective communication is important. Yep.
Yep.
Because every situation requires a different
Different
conversation.
conversation. It's not gonna
That's
be the
right.
same conversation.
It's not going to be the same because trust me,
Wow. So
where
good.
where I was in where I was mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and physiologically around sex at 29 years old when we got married,
Mm-hmm.
I am in a very different place.
Yeah. Which you bring up a good point,
Mhm.
which the conversation has to be ongoing because of the different seasons that
Yep.
we go through in our
That's right.
throughout the course of our marriage. Is different seasons because we evolve and we change, our needs
Mhm.
change, our likes and wants and desires
Mhm.
change around sex and everything else. It's making you hot, you need the
Yeah,
fan
yeah. You know
talking
these
about sex.
conversations, man, get me warmed up.
So the conversations have to be ongoing.
Yep.
If not if not for something's changed, we need to have a conversation for the mere fact of a check-in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to keep having these conversations because things
And
change.
not just about sex, about everything.
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 Yeah.
Like it all warrants a conversation.
Yep.
Pedro says she never agrees. She never agrees with me.
Oh gosh.
Pedro says she never agrees with me.
Ugh.
Yeah. So listen, we have based on our we have separate experiences
Mhm.
outside of just full transparency. We have separate experiences outside of marriage.
Mhm.
Just full transparency. We keep it real. We're real folks. That also played a part in
Yep.
how we approached sex in marriage.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
that's
we
good.
we learned the hard way that we had to have a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't I think we did not realize how important it is to have conversations and continue having conversations
Mm-hmm.
about everything, but since we're talking about sex in this in this topic, we didn't realize how important it was until issues arised.
Right.
And then we were like, man, we probably should be
We
talking
need to be
about
talking
this.
about it because we listen. So we're not gonna sit in front of you like we've always had conversations and we got this right. Like we learned the hard way that we need to do this,
Yeah.
or else dissatisfaction and or just the lack of knowledge
Yeah.
around our needs and desires
Yeah.
was leading us down the road to resentment.
Mm-hmm.
That creates a vicious cycle because that now fuels dissatisfaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
So now we're just doing this and nobody ain't saying nothing, right?
Yeah.
So we understand what that feels like.
Yep.
Hence why we're saying you need to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Elizan said it can't always be a quickie, though. I agree with that.
Not always.
Not always.
Not always.
Not always.
No.
The quickies are good for that spontaneous, man, you better get over here right now kinds of things. But
We haven't
yes, it can't.
connected in a while.
Yeah.
Let's just get this in real quick. I know we got stuff to do, but we haven't
Yep.
connected in a while and I need to.
Yeah. Come on through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yes, it can't be
Can't
that
be
all the time.
always.
And if it is that all the time,
Another conversation.
we
Why
gotta
is this?
we gotta figure out what is the root cause. Because sometimes dissatisfaction is not solely just about sexual performance. Sometimes it's something else.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's medical.
Yep.
Sometimes it's psychological.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it could be a whole host of things that manifest themselves in sexual dissatisfaction.
Yeah, let me listen. So, if a wife is feeling neglected or not supported
Mhm.
enough in other areas of the marriage or overwhelmed,
Mhm.
then she may not perform to her husband's um the best of her ability,
Yep.
right?
True.
And so her
True.
husband her husband then on the other hand is going to be like, I'm unsatisfied, but he doesn't realize it's because she
There's a lot going on.
is a lot going on. She's unsatisfied also, but not sexually.
Right.
You know what I'm
See?
saying? She's unsatisfied because she doesn't feel supported.
Mm-hmm.
She's burned out. She's overwhelmed. She's tired. She's got a lot on her plate. That
Yep.
is going to affect, like for women, if it
Yep.
ain't right up here, it's not going to be right anywhere else. And
That's
it's
right.
going to show. But the husband is going to be like, man, I'm so unsatisfied with this sex life.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that's why you got to have those
gotta
conversations so
have
that
the
you can
conversation.
determine root cause. There's a book entitled "Sex Begins in the Kitchen,"
Yeah.
which is essentially talking about that the things that happen outside the bedroom have significant influence and impact on what happens inside the bedroom.
Yeah.
So, in order to know what those are, you got to have a conversation,
Yeah.
right? Stevie said, "On your mark, get set, go." Hey, listen, that's back in the day, bro. Like, hey, every man for himself.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Funny, I did too. I want to please my woman. It does bother me. I was just trying to give a different view. I'm with you, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And here's the thing. Hence the reason why conversation, because I promise you, as you get older,
Mm-hmm.
one, your needs change.
Yep.
Two, your perspective changes.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Your perspective changes. It does.
Oh.
And you gotta be able to communicate that. So that's, yeah. You want to shut it down now? Cause we could go. We could be out of here.
Oh, that was sweet.
Yeah. So your
I
perspective,
feel seen.
it changes, and part of that is feeling seen and being
Yeah,
listened
that's what I'm
to,
saying. Yeah.
and implementing what you're hearing in a conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
It makes a world of difference.
Just one question said, "I'm loving this married with benefits person." Yes,
Me
indeed.
too.
Yeah,
I love them.
indeed. They're excellent contributions to
I
the
love
conversation.
them. I'm
Good
so
stuff.
glad that they're here.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Where we at? Pedro said communication is the key for sure.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Break the circle, and I was saying something for the quickie. I'm listen. I'm with that all day long. I think that helps. Um, that helps bring variety
It does.
to your experience.
Spontaneity.
Yeah. It brings variety to your experience. And if you have young kids, it's a go-to.
Essential.
It is a go-to. It is a go-to
Essential.
because here's the thing. A house, if you're building a house and you put up 1,000 bricks, or you put up a brick at a time, the house is going to get built.
Yeah.
It's just in your consistency.
Mm.
Some people have the capacity to put up 1,000 bricks every time they go to build. Some people are like, hey, let's get this brick in right here. We're going to get
Right.
another brick in 3 weeks. Or,
Yeah.
well, not 3 weeks. That's kind of a long time. We're going to get another brick in 3 days. Or what? 3 weeks. Wow. Yeah. So,
No.
yeah, not 3 weeks, because we want to eat dinner at some point. No pun intended. Let's keep going with these comments. Let's go. Let's keep going with these comments. How's that? Talking about options.
Oh, come on. Come on. Move it on.
Especially when they banging on the door. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Listen, the small kids thing,
It's a season, guys.
it's a season,
It's a
right? So
season.
understand it's a season. They will grow up, but I urge you
We are proponents of
to,
quickies.
yeah, I urge you to make sure that your communication around intimacy building during that time, that you are intentional about it.
Yeah. Here's the thing, when you have small children, because intimacy is holistic, it's not just sexual, right? So I think it's crucial that your intimacy in other areas, emotional, uh, what's the other ones? Intellectual,
Experiential.
physical, that's not, intercourse,
Mm-hmm.
experiential. It's crucial that those areas of intimacy are utilized as much as possible. Some you may be able to work on more than others. But when the sexual intimacy, because of children, is a little iffy
Mm-hmm.
and not as frequent as you'd like, the other areas have got to
The
come
other
into
area.
play.
That's right.
They have to.
They do.
You have to make the most of all of them as best you can.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that will support,
That will help to support.
that will help to support the little bit of infrequency of the sexual intimacy.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
Yep. I got some brownie points, bro. I got some brownie points. I got them. I got them. That's what's up. Well, that's all, folks. Cut the feed. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. That's what's up. That's what's up. So listen, we're gonna get out of here. We just wanted
See, that's
to.
all, folks.
We just wanted to, as always with these Saturday night conversations, is put something in front of you that you can then talk about. You should be talking about your sexual satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
A good way to do that is not to filter your needs through a negative filter.
Yeah.
So do not come at your spouse like,
You always.
right, you know what I'm
You
saying? Don't chop
never.
their head off.
Every time you.
Come to them with a put a positive spin on what your needs are,
Mm-hmm.
and let them know why
Yeah.
it's important to you and how it can benefit the team.
Yeah.
So what we often tell couples is, when you're expressing a need, don't just bark out a need because it feels like a command.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get that energy back.
Feels like an order. Yeah.
You express your need, you filter it through a positive lens, but you don't stop there. You explain why the need is important. You explain how the need is going to benefit the team. And then you give suggestions on how the other person can facilitate that.
Mm.
Because we cannot be dissatisfied. That's one thing we cannot have, is dissatisfaction in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Or in any other area. One thing people don't talk about much, it is, as we get older, our hormones shift. And often people don't understand that it's not dissatisfaction, but your body is changing.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Sometimes people don't know how to deal with those changes. Talking through it together makes a world of difference.
Makes a world of difference.
You're right.
We're living proof.
We're living proof.
We're
of that,
living proof
right?
of that.
Because when you get into menopause, or as guys get older and different things happen, right? You have to be able to talk about that. And you're right. Sometimes those issues get masked as dissatisfaction.
You're absolutely right. Yep.
Absolutely right. Absolutely
Hi,
right.
Dina. That's
Thank you
Dina
for being here.
Reeves.
Indeed, indeed. Yes, have a good night as well, Elizan. Listen, let me say this to folk. Let me say this, folks. If you are, blessings on you as well. Yeah, great
Great
conversation in the
combo.
comments, man. Great
Thanks for joining us,
conversation in the
Pedro.
comments as well. If you are having, yeah, I know. Listen, fam.
Why are you still
First of all,
awake?
thank you for being here, bro.
Let's
Like
see,
that's
11.
like it's what is it,
It's like 4 after 4.
bro? Like
Go to sleep, Pedro. Oh,
kudos to you, bro.
well,
Like,
look, you're up. So,
or don't go to sleep.
or
How about
don't go
that?
to sleep.
Or don't go to sleep. That's what's up. Shout out to my guy out in the UK. Appreciate you for being here. Great convo. Listen, if you need to, um, if you need to talk to somebody, don't hesitate to do that. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Like if you got to get a sex therapist or you got to get a coach or you got to get somebody that can help you to get comfortable with having these conversations, that's okay too, right? If we need help in other areas, we go get it, don't we? So
Yeah.
why would we not do that here as well?
Since you brought up sex therapists, I just want to
Mhm.
say what we always say. If a sex therapist is only suggesting or giving you positions, that's not the sex
Yeah,
therapist that
we're
you
not.
should be going
Yeah,
to.
we're not talking
We're
about that
not talking
foolishness
about
you see
that.
on HBO and Cinemax. That's not what
No.
we're talking about. We're talking about somebody who's going to walk you through building intimacy holistically,
Yes.
help you to be able to communicate better in those areas,
Yeah.
help you to facilitate growth in those areas. We're not talking about this stuff you see on Cinemax. That ain't
Right.
that's crack sex therapy where they talking about here, take your clothes off and do these
Yeah,
positions. Yeah,
no.
that's for
We're not talking
sex
about that.
therapy in a lot of people's minds has a negative connotation because of those images.
Right.
That's not what it is.
Correct.
Go get some help, fight for your marriage, be satisfied in the bedroom.
And if you
Right.
need help finding some, we know at
We
least a
can
couple.
yeah, we know some.
Yeah.
Love you as well. Thank you. We
Love you
appreciate that.
too.
Anton and Cheryl in the house. What's happening,
Oh, my
family?
Anton, my Dudley
Yeah,
family.
what's happening, fam? Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. It's a night out. 4:13 in the morning,
4:13.
bro. Like, yeah, hey, listen, man, salute. That's what's up. All right, listen, we're gonna get out of here. Listen, let me just say, because I'm gonna do this. It's just if you know a couple, we're talking about intimacy, right? So if you know a couple wants to communicate on an extraordinary level, they want to recognize, manage, and recover from conflict in record time, and they want to build an holistic, intimate bond,
Holistic.
which includes satisfaction in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Please make them aware of the Make Love Better 6-week group coaching experience. We have had a phenomenal time with couples in these experiences. We have another cohort starting on July 16.
Such fun.
And
Such
I'm
fun.
telling you, you're gonna walk away with some tools
Yeah.
that you can consistently use to build and maintain the relationship of your dreams. So
Yeah.
if you want some information about that, you can simply go to our website. It's denali.org/make
Make
love
love
better.
better.
Denali.org. I thought I had it up here, but I don't. Denali.org slash
Slash make
make
love
love better.
better.
Go to that website and you can get information about it and reserve your spot or share it with someone. If this is not for you, share it with someone who that may benefit from it.
I
All right.
promise we don't just talk about sex
No, no,
in the cohort. We don't.
we don't. We
We
don't.
do talk about it,
We,
but that's
yeah,
not all we talk
that's
about.
not all we talk about. So it's a play on words. It's making your love, your
Your
holistic
holistic
love,
love, overall,
better.
everything
Better.
better.
Yep. All right, so we're going to get out of here. Blessings on you all. Have a fantastic rest of your night and
Happy
weekend.
Father's Day
Happy
to
Father's Day.
all of the fathers on here,
We salute you.
all of the father figures, and to all of the fathers in your lives. Happy Father's Day.
We salute you, family. We will see you, God's willing, next Saturday night for another episode of Have a Conversation After Dark. Make sure that these conversations spark conversations
Mhm.
in your own space because that's what it's all about,
That's what's all about.
having a conversation. Good night, folks. We'll see you soon.
Good night.